Hi guys, so I just want to start this video by saying thank you. Thank you to everyone who commented on last week's video. Thank you for all of the support that you gave me, you showed me last week. I was truly overwhelmed by it, by the level of friendship that you showed, by the support that you gave, by the advice that you gave as well. But also because you guys actually helped me diagnose and understand what's going on. And that's what I want to talk about this week, because I had no idea that this was a thing. I had no idea that this even existed. I had no idea that there are other musicians in the world who are going through exactly the same situation that I'm going through right now. I had no idea that it had a name. And the name of the condition I've got is Focal Dystonia. So what I thought I'd do is try and raise awareness of this, make you guys aware of this, demonstrate what it means to me, demonstrate how it manifests itself to me, and then talk about how I'm going to move forward with it. It's probably worth starting with a brief recap of the history of this. So what happened was, a while ago now, maybe 6 months ago or whatever, I started noticing some pain in my fingers, some pain in my finger joints. Now, in my family, we've got a history of arthritis, and this just felt like arthritis. In fact, it is arthritis. I do have the symptoms of arthritis coming on, so this is something that I do need to work on. And some of the comments that you sent last week about arthritis and dealing with it, that's helpful. But around the same time, I noticed that my dexterity, I seem to be losing my dexterity, my ability to play some of the techniques that I've been playing for my entire life, basically. And specifically the tremolo technique, I was losing that. And so for the past, well, probably since January, February time really, I've been trying to build up that technique again and been working hard on it, practicing constantly, trying to regain my tremolo technique, and nothing was working. In fact, it was getting worse. Up until probably Friday of last week, which was when I decided enough's enough, I've got to stop. I can't keep doing this. I just can't fix this. There's something wrong. And that was what was triggering the video. That was a video that I put live last week. Now, I just assumed that this was a symptom of arthritis because they both happened around the same time. But it also didn't feel like arthritis because, or it didn't feel like what I expected arthritis to feel like because, I've got no loss of movement in my fingers, no loss of the range of movement. There's no pain at all when I move my fingers around, nothing like that. But this was just a very specific loss of dexterity, and it just seemed to be in one hand as well. It just seemed to be in my left hand, and actually specifically when I was playing the tremolo technique, that was when I really noticed it. That's when it really seemed to affect me. So I was trying to think of what else it could be. If it wasn't arthritis, then what could it be? Because, if you lose dexterity, that could be signs of the onset of MS, for example. But again, it didn't feel right because I'm not losing my general motor control. It's just this one specific technique that's letting me down, and I just couldn't understand why. And then I thought, well, maybe it's all in my head. Maybe it's just, maybe it's a mental thing. Maybe I've just got a mental block here. And I even went as far as talking to a counsellor friend of mine who knows about hypnosis and NLP and things like that. And she did a process on me just to see if that helped at all, and that made no difference. I picked up my guitar with a huge amount of confidence and completely failed in the same way as I'd done every other time. So I was completely at a loss as to what this could be other than a symptom of my arthritis. So that was the kind of state I was in when I posted the video last week. That was kind of the extent of my knowledge. And after I put that video online, I got this huge outpouring of support from you, as I mentioned earlier. And a lot of you were just giving me advice and help and trying to help out the best way you could. Mainly focused on arthritis, and that's not surprising because that was where my focus was as well, and that's what I dwelled on. But a couple of you also pointed out the similarity of this to focal dystonia, which was something I'd never heard of before. And one of you said I should go and research someone called Leona Boyd, who was a classical guitarist who specifically suffered from this. So that's what I did. And when I did that, I found an article, and I'll link it in the description below so you can read it for yourself. And it talks about how she encountered this, how this came on for her as well. And what she said was she had no pain, no restriction in the movement of her fingers at all. But when she started playing a tremolo technique, she seemed to lose control of the middle finger specifically. And then pieces of music like Spanish Romance became increasingly difficult for her to play. And for her, you know, it was really tough. She was actually in the middle of a concert tour when all of this was happening. So she was playing concert halls trying to deal with this situation. So my heart really did go out to her. But everything she said just rang so true, so such an equivalence to what I'm going through right now, that I realized that this is exactly the same thing that I'm facing right now. So what I thought I'd do is zoom in and see if I can demonstrate the symptoms so you can see it actually going wrong, or you can see the extent of how this works. Okay, so much of my playing is just like normal, you know? And the thing to watch is watch the movement of my middle finger. Or chords. Yeah, everything looks pretty normal. Nothing weird there. And then I try tremolo. Let me just do a really simple tremolo pattern. Okay. Look at my middle finger now. But my whole hand is kind of suffering from it. Yeah, you see how my middle finger's sort of curled under in a weird way? It's what I can't control that. And Leona talks about, what was it, Spanish Romance? So Spanish Romance, you probably recognise it. It's like my first classical guitar piece. It's what everyone kind of learns when they're first learning the classical guitar. So I was playing this probably when I was about 9 or 10 years old, so 40 odd years ago I first started playing this. So you can imagine how straightforward this should be for me. Yeah, my hand just falls apart, and it seems to be related to any movement which starts with the third finger and then moves on to the second finger, and that's the movement that's specifically broken for me when I play the guitar. And this is the other really weird thing, it's only when I'm playing the guitar. So for example, if you know, what I used to do when I was younger is just practice my tremolo on a cup. You can see I can still do that. So I've got the motor skills, but they don't translate to when I play the guitar specifically, which is just so weird. So hopefully that's demonstrated it for you. You can see it's a condition. You can see how specific it is as well. And what it seems to be is it seems to be related to techniques where you heavily practice them, or you over practice them in fact. And it's like your motor learning skills kind of get smudged or get smeared, so they start overlapping with each other. So a particular piece of learning that you used to have starts getting affected or starts bleeding over into other learnings as well. And that's kind of what you're seeing when I'm doing the tremolo technique, or when I'm playing a note with my third finger and then following it up with my second finger, as you saw earlier. So what am I doing about this? Well, Not surprisingly, I've been in touch with my doctor about this. I've passed on all the information that I've found about it to her as well, linked to the articles and things like that. Not surprisingly, it's not a condition she's got any expertise in at all. So she's referred it to the local hospital, and I'm waiting for the neurology department to get in touch with me, and we'll see where that takes me. I've got to admit, I don't expect to ever fully recover from this. You know, if you read the article about Leona, she never did as well. I know that there is research going on in this all the time, and potentially there are ways of moving this forward. I'm going to stop playing fingerstyle. It seems to be related to the amount of practice that you're putting in, so practicing is probably making me worse rather than better. I find that the technique, playing the guitar using a pick, is so completely different to fingerstyle that I feel no effect at all when I'm playing like that. So that's what I'm going to do. As I mentioned last week, I'll continue to do that. So how am I feeling right now? Well, actually relieved. Actually knowing that this is a thing, actually knowing that I'm not going mad is a huge relief for me. I guess I'm philosophical about the fact that I may never recover from this. But I just have to walk that journey and see where it takes me. Yeah, I'll wait until the hospital gets in touch and we'll start progressing with that. I'm actually quite excited about playing the guitar with a pick. It's something I haven't done for so long. It gives me a new direction, a new area to explore. And I've been doing that for the past week or so, and I've actually been finding it a lot of fun. Been finding a lot of fun sort of building up the technique. I'm finding it really interesting because obviously there are things that I used to play fingerstyle. There's advanced stuff, fast picking stuff that I used to play fingerstyle. I don't quite have the skills yet in my right hand to be able to do it, but I can compensate because my left hand, I've still got all of the ability that I've always had in my left hand. So I'm finding tricks and workarounds and ways of playing stuff and bringing those into my playing as well. So I'm really kind of excited about sharing some of this stuff with you guys as well. So I fully expect normal service to be resumed. Certainly when it comes to these videos after this week, I see no reason to talk about this anymore until, you know, something material develops. Otherwise, I'm just going to focus on getting the guitar lessons out, focusing on using a pick now, and focusing on all the things that I used to do before. So anyway, like I said before, thank you. You guys have been a huge help for me, a huge help for me understanding, helping me understand what I'm going through right now. Made a huge difference for me. So yeah, thank you. And we'll chat next time. Bye bye.